That's not your nickname, motherfucker.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of the Monday Night Marks podcast, where we break down Monday Nitro and WWF Monday Night Raw head-to-head, just like the war that occurred between Vince and Bischoff. I'm your boy Max, a.k.a. Lil Q. I'm here with Hollywood Edwards, the boy, the homie. What's up, Hollywood?
What's up, little cute? I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I have wanted to do this like years ago. I just thought to myself, I should just go back and go through the whole war.
I know it was kind of like, because I've seen the night, like I've obviously, like, the Raw we watched, I haven't really seen because I don't really watch Raw, but I've seen like the first Nitro a lot of times in like highlights and like the Monday Night War on the network, like that show, and just stuff like that. And I've never actually sat down and like looked at it for what it was, so it was pretty cool doing that. So in this episode, we just looked at the first Nitro because Raw, they weren't airing because they were starting their fall season, they called it. So we just looked at the first Nitro for this first episode. But normally we would be doing segment for segment, head-to-head between Nitro and Raw. But for this inaugural episode, we're just doing the first Monday Nitro. So yeah, Hollywood, you want to kick it off? Mr. Nitro? Mr. Monday Night.
Monday Night Nitro, September 4th, 1995. Doing this show too, I'm interested because I'm interested to see what I remember and what's hazy. And I noticed there were some hazy things just doing this first show. But to me, okay, we're in the Mall of America,
Which
Minneapolis.
is, wow.
Minnesota. And you said this was what they pulled a 2.5.
They pulled a
rate?
2.5. The attendance, according to WrestlingData.com,
Okay.
It says approximately 2,000, but it was in a public mall. Like, you can see in the shot when they first come in, like, there's a crowd with like guardrails, and then there's people watching above, like 3 stories above. So like, I don't really think they knew. Honestly, I don't know this for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people didn't even pay to see it, because once again, it was a public mall, and I think they just wanted people there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that's definitely something that Bish would have done, I think. But yeah, so it 2.5 they pulled for it, which honestly is like not bad for a debut show.
Yeah. Sure.
But that being said, they weren't against Raw. So like they were the only wrestling show on, which I don't know, maybe a lot of people didn't know about it. But 2.5 is not bad for an opening show. Like that's definitely I think Bish would have been happy about that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I didn't remember first thing I didn't remember right off the bat was it's in a mall. I always remembered that. It was Mall of America. But the way the setup with the tiers,
yeah,
I think it looked pretty darn good.
It did
being thrown in a mall.
The only thing that my issue was with it is, like, couldn't they have put up like an entranceway, like you could literally see like where the stores were, like where the wrestlers were coming down. Like that's the only thing. Couldn't they have just closed that off and thrown, like, I don't know, like a WCW sign or even like a black like tarp? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like an indie curtain.
Right, because that looked to me a little bit. Because like you said, the 3 stories, it looked like the Manhattan Center, but on roids, kind of, because it had the third story, and it was circular. So I thought, yeah, like you're right, that did look cool. That was my only bugaboo with it, was that, like, I don't know why they couldn't close that off.
Yep.
But it is what it is. Actually, I think I know why they might not have closed it off, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to that. So the show kicks off with the commentators. We got Eric Bischoff, Steve Mondo McMichael, who, for the record, I was never a fan of.
Dude, yeah, I'm going to slander him a lot, I feel like.
and Bobby the Brain Heenan, of course, comes in
awesome
on the McMichael intro, and right off the bat, I love it because he's giving crap to McMichael.
Yep.
He said, "Oh, I loved watching you when you were playing with Denver."
Yep.
Obvious hit right away.
Yep. And then I literally wrote down for this note. I wrote announcers Mongo ? Bischoff got 1 exclamation point and Heenan got 3. But I noted that like Bischoff was gleaming kind of like you could tell he was happy.
Oh yeah.
You could tell he was like, yep, like we're in the big time now.
Yep.
And also I noted Mongo was talking gibberish. I like he did it all show. And this is like he said something about digging around, but it sounded like he was saying dicking around. And I was like, what are you saying? Like I was like, dude, I'm like, can you just let Bischoff and Heenan talk? Like,
yeah,
dude, the whole Mongo thing. I was just surprised, honestly. It was his debut too. I don't know if you like. I don't know. I don't remember if they said that or they mentioned it.
Yeah,
but it was literally his first WCW show. And they put him on color, and I'm just like, couldn't you just do the 2-man booth? I don't know.
Yeah, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but.
Yeah, but so yeah, as we go, his name may pop up here and there, but
yes.
So for the first match, it kicks off with Jushin Thunder Liger representing New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I know that was awesome that they did that. That was cool that they threw that in.
Yes, it was. Versus Flying Brian Pillman.
Flying Brian.
So this match starts, and for me, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a good one, right off the bat. However, interesting enough, this felt to me like a modern day wrestling match. And I mean, it was good, don't get me wrong, but there were a few timing issues, like on
I noted
Liger's Ranas, and there were a couple iffy moves with the two of them.
I've noted here. Also, here's another thing. Well, I noted on the botch fest. I noted Rana botch Liger. Like so Flying Brian did like a Rana within like the first sequence or something, and Liger like turned the wrong way entirely. Did you see that?
Yes.
And he like landed like he literally over like so. Say he was supposed to go. I don't remember what it was. I think he was supposed to go left, and he like overexerted and had to do a full flip by himself and go right, and he like landed on Pillman's back. And I was like, okay, like I get they're going fast because like that's a theme of this whole match. It's a very quick match, and they didn't have a lot of time, so I get that. But like, just slow it down. And then there's like another part, bro, where he like he does like this, Rana over the top, and like he kind of does a senton then to like a standing Pillman, and he kind of misses him.
Yes.
And then like there's another part where it's just like a cross body. And the timing was just weird. Like he got sent out, and like he kind of like pulled the rope down for Pillman to go over, but he pulled it down too early, so Pillman kind of had to do it. It was weird. He didn't really throw him over it. He just kind of like Pillman had to just like fall out of the ring, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
I mean, I feel like that's to be expected because I mean, Liger is a Japanese wrestler, and Pillman, you know what I mean? And they had the time the time constraints and stuff, but
yeah, but. This actually set the tone to me. First show, when you think back on Nitro, the first hour, it always kicked off with the cruiserweights.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that they did that from the very first Nitro.
Dude, you could tell like that's something that was cool because you could tell Bischoff had like a real vision for that. And he like you think about cruiserweights too, like Liger you think of, but Pillman, I mean, he's not really like a cruiserweight. He's a little bit bigger. I always thought of him like he's not like a Jericho.
He's like a middleweight or something.
Right, yeah. But I mean, dude, he was. I thought he like it just sucks he was taken too soon because I always liked Pillman. But this is the first match I really looked down. And I was like, dude, Pillman's like, I didn't realize how quick he was in the ring. You know what I mean? Like he can go for sure. I also noted too, like it was kind of weird, and I get why it was kind of weird. But I was like, is Liger the heel? Like I like at the beginning, and then the crowd chanted USA, USA, USA. And I was like, okay, so they're just rooting against him because he's Japanese. But it was kind of like, to me, it was kind of presented as a face versus face match at first. But
yeah, definitely. And back then, you know how it was.
Right, yeah.
I mean, any foreigner was chanted against.
Exactly.
For whatever reason. But so the only few things I've jotted down here is, and this is probably going to be a recurring theme on the Nitro side of our podcast here, but I was never a fan of Nick Patrick.
Yeah. You go. You go.
So the thing I like about Nick Patrick is he has like, he'll count the one, and then he shimmies his arm up. Like elbow first, then the arm. And it's like this very fluid motion.
Yeah.
but it's so fluid that when he's off or hesitating because he's
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the guy to kick out, that's when it becomes an issue because it's so visual. You can see it.
Yep.
It happened here, and we're going to get to more Nick Patrick as we go on.
Dude,
like I said, but man, it's just not good.
It's not. And that's the thing too. I don't know if like a lot of times, like you said, if he's off time, it's screwed up. Like there'll be times if he'll go down and I'll be like, did he just count a 1? Or is that just him hitting the mat? And that happens a lot.
Yes.
But also beyond that, like well, because he becomes, I mean, we'll get to this later down the line, but he becomes an NWO ref, I think, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Yeah, so because I always thought like he kind of played into the match too much in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a little bit, the wrestlers, like he tried to put himself in front of the wrestlers, but yeah. So Patrick, I don't know. He it is what it is. But like you said, the fluid motion's kind of cool. It just throws him off timing sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And the only other thing I have here is the commentary.
Yep.
Again, McMichael, he's trying to be funny, giving crap to Heenan.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not funny.
Dude, he calls him Bobby Hernia or something.
Yeah.
Like 18 times. And I'm like, first of all, that doesn't even rhyme with his name. Second of all, what do you even, like, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, why? It's not even funny. And then poor Heenan has to respond, and the best he can come up with, and Bobby Heenan's one of maybe the GOAT.
I think he might be, dude. I enjoyed him a lot. I enjoyed him a lot.
But the best he can come up with is, we're going to resort to name calling now?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, that's because Michael,
and because he
didn't set him up. I mean,
he's saying the weirdest things too.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I noted too is because you have, like, I love the brain, but like throughout this match, because it was so new school, like if you notice, like they would do a move and Heenan would just be like, oh, he, like, that's great. Like they didn't know any of the names. Like he did a DDT, I think, off the top rope, and they didn't call it like a tornado DDT. But like it was 95, so I don't know if like they really had the language for that yet.
Right.
But I noted that like they didn't really do that. And also, like Heenan, as much as I love him, it was kind of great. He like, so the finish, right, when they did the little whatchamacallit, I don't even know what it was, like the pinning combo.
Mm-hmm.
Heenan goes, he got him like before he even got the 3.
Yes.
I just thought like it was kind of cool.
Yeah, but Pillman got the win. I don't know what they did. It was a combination move, but
it was like a pin, but it was like a weird sunset tumble fall off the top rope into a pin thing. I don't even know what to call it, but yeah.
I don't know either, but yeah. So far, like I approached this show too, watching it tonight, as if it was my first time watching it,
mm-hmm.
and if they would steal me away from Raw. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I thought it was a strong start, even with some of the negatives that we pointed out.
I did too. Like there was, like just to name a few cool parts, I guess. Like there was, the whole thing. Like Liger did a surfboard, and I was like, wow, I can't remember the last time I saw a surfboard.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome. And they did this spot where Pillman like jumped off the top rope, I think it was one of them jumped off the top, and I think Pillman nailed Liger with like a jumping drop kick. And Liger, like, he just stayed, like, straight up. Like, he didn't really, like, prepare himself for it, kind of. And it looked great because he nailed him in the face and he just went back. It just looked great. But, yeah, I mean, they were flying around the ring. I thought it was, like you said, it really set the tone for Nitro. Like, because at the time, I mean, I feel like that's not something people saw on American TV a lot, was that style of wrestling. So that was really cool. And I think Bischoff did a good job at making that, like, the first thing anyone sees.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. That's a good way to say it. Absolutely. So, moving on from there.
Yep.
Got a quick picture-in-picture promo from Stinger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a good spot for it because, it was just your basic, Nitro, here we go, da da da, woo,
Yep. I think he talked about Flair briefly or something.
Right.
But dude, I don't know if you noticed this too, because I noted it just even in that promo. I don't know if they must have had a screen or something, or I don't know if it was piped in. But dude, as soon as like, especially like the females, like as soon as they saw Sting, they lost their minds. Like he was so over. Dude, he was on the screen for like 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, and they just lost their minds at seeing him. And I was like, dude, he is insanely over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's gonna be cool watching Surfer Sting a little bit before it becomes Crow Sting, because like we always think of Crow Sting, but dude, he was so over. Like the fans loved him. It was crazy to see that.
Exactly. And the other thing too is watching these originally. I wasn't watching Nitro.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see that Sting run instead of watching YouTube videos of Surfer Sting, watching it in progression. So yeah, it's going to be cool. But from there, Pasta Mania starts running wild.
I loved this. For no reason, I love this.
Bischoff interviewing Hogan with Jimmy Hart, kids all around him at the food court, in front of apparently a pasta Italian kiosk.
Yeah, it wasn't even a restaurant. It was literally like a food court mall kiosk.
Pasta Mania. Hogan said Pasta Mania 50 times at
Dude,
least. In this
I noted some. He called his, instead of Hulkamaniacs, he'd go Pasta Maniacs, brother. And then he'd go, I literally put in parentheses on my notes, like 3 minutes of Pasta Mania quotes. He said at one point, Pasta Mania running through my brain. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And then he said, and then he got away from the Pasta Mania and he started saying like Hulkaroos and my Hulkachoos. And I was like, crazy. I don't know what's happening, but I was like laughing and enjoying it.
Yep.
But I was just like I wonder what Bischoff was doing, like doing that, because like Hogan, like as cheesy as like I know that the point was that it was supposed to be cheesy and like, oh, here's Hulk Hogan, our big star, like segment 2 or whatever. But like it was to me it was more funny than like, oh, here's our like big over star. You know, it was enjoyable for no reason. It was so dumb.
Exactly. Yes.
Like it was so
enjoyable
funny.
For no reason. 100%. But the main gist of the promo, obviously, he's cutting it on Big Bubba Rogers, who he will be facing in the main event tonight. So from there, United States heavyweight title match.
Yeah, brother.
Ric Flair challenging the champion Sting. And this is Sting, to paint the picture, bleach blonde, purple and pink makeup, face paint, excuse me. Wrestling fans, don't
wrestling fans.
Face paint with the pink pants, magenta, whatever you want to say. So getting into this match.
Yeah.
Before the match starts, Lex Luger is shown out there, and this is great, and this is why I love Bischoff. And we'll get to this again with the NWO invasion, but right from the jump, Bischoff says, "Get that camera off him now."
Yep.
What is he doing here? Completely selling it, and the reason why, if you're new to the Nitro side of things, WCW side of things. 8 days prior to this show, Lex Luger prevented a run-in during the main event of Diesel's match at SummerSlam.
Yep. The main event. Like, he was literally...
He was in the main
top 3 in the at the time in the company. Like, Luger, Diesel, Vader probably, right?
Right.
No, Vader wasn't... Who else was there? Vader was in WCW.
No, Vader's WCW right now.
So, I guess him, Diesel, maybe Sean. But, like, either way, he's... top 3.
Yeah.
Like which is fair. Ridiculous. And the thing I loved about this too, and this is what I was saying about, I'll get to this, like it's that maybe that's what he wanted, Bischoff, why he didn't put like a canvas back there from where the wrestlers were coming from, because maybe he wanted it to legitimately be like, oh my God, Lex Luger just like walked in here. So like I kind of got that, because it presented itself kind of like that, where he just walked in. And the thing I love too is Sting's music is still playing and the bell doesn't even ring. And Luger walks in. Like, he didn't do a run-in.
Right.
He just walked there, like, before... Like, because he could have easily... They could have made him do a run-in, like, halfway through the match. But he just walked out
he just strolled, like, into the...
And he was just chilling.
Fans. It was great.
And it was kind of cool, because, like... Heenan said... This is funny, too. Heenan goes... When he first saw him, he said... He goes, "This is just unabashed arrogance." And I'm like... I'm like, he's not even talking. It's just great. But like I don't know, the way they presented this, it was really cool, because like it's so like Luger came out of nowhere, and like you said, 8 days ago he was on SummerSlam, and they like you said, Bischoff was great at being like reality TV and being like, hey, get the cameras off him. I don't know why he's here, type of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah.
Excellent. So from there, okay, so getting into the match. This, and I don't know about you, buddy, but watching modern wrestling and longing for the old days, there are, I guess I want to say, basics of psychology and basics of just performance, basic moves. It's not good enough anymore. But when you see two guys like Sting and Flair start the match with a crisscross, Sting's leapfrogging, more crisscross, and it ends with a press slam.
It's just
so great, and they do everything so clean and crisp and perfect,
dude. And that's why, like, I don't. It's just it was so refreshing to see this, because it's like it's such a simple like format. You send Sting out there, you're massively over babyface. You send Flair out there, the best seller in the business, best worker in the business, and you just let him do that thing for 10 minutes or whatever it was. And that's like what you got. You got Flair selling like a champ, and Sting getting his offense in, and with a comeback at the end. And that's all it was. It was just press slams. It was just a little bit of chain wrestling. It was just body slams, and Flair would sell it like he'd sell it. He'd do his begging spots. He'd do there was test of strengths. Like the whole match was pretty much Flair selling Sting's press slams.
Yes.
But the way that
simple.
But the way that they formatted it, and the way that it worked out psychologically, it was like you said, simple. But like they still drew you in. Like you knew what to expect, but you didn't care because it was great. Like it's just two great workers going out there and doing their thing, and like it's just exactly like the old school, what we long for. Like you said, it's so perfect. It's a formula that should never have been messed with, because it's so easy and so simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know why you would want to progress from something that's like so simple and
exactly
basic and nice. But yeah, so the other thing too about it, they did the whole crisscrossing back and forth to open it. And then what slowed it down, like the ebbs and flows of it, what slowed it down was a simple thumb to the eye by Flair.
Yep.
And then he started chopping, and Sting is selling, and then Sting starts no selling, and it picks up again, and then Flair takes him out to the outside, and it slows down again.
Yep.
It's just that up and down, nice and easy.
And
something that's lost today.
It's so simple. It's like, how does it get lost? And another thing I noted too is Sting. I don't know if you saw this. Within the first crisscrossing, he does a leapfrog, and he does his woo like in the middle of him leapfrog. It was great. I was just like, oh my god. I actually think like I marked out for Sting this entire match. Like when he does a stinger splash, I kind of like, for some reason, like it's amazing. The camera angle or something they do, it looks great. Like I love it. Flair's cyst was there. I don't know if you saw that. It was in its early stages, but it was there a little bit.
The infancy stages of the cyst.
The infancy stages of the cyst. For all of you that don't know, Ric Flair had a cyst on his back right of his back for probably like 6 years, and he just never took care of it. But it was really small here. But by like 98, it'll be gigantic, and you'll be able to see it.
Yes, we'll keep an eye on the cyst. We'll report on the cyst.
We'll let you know about the cyst, but it was there.
So as the match is continuing on, eventually Arn Anderson comes out. And this should be noted, like, as we go through, you had the opening match, and then you had the Sting thing, the Hogan Sting, or the Hogan thing, and then you had Luger, and now you have Arn. So they're basically, I think Eric probably had this in his head. We're going to throw the whole menu at the new viewer of Nitro.
Yep.
Because Raw's not on. So I think this was great too. But Arn comes in, and the announcers are talking that him and Flair are at odds. So at this point, we know there's no Horseman at this point.
Yeah.
But here's excuse me. Here's where the booking problems come in for Nitro. Arn goes in. Yeah. Slides into the ring, and he doesn't touch anybody. The bell rings.
Dude, I was literally like, why was there a disqualification? He didn't touch any, like, because at the time, especially like, because this is the first thing we watched. Like, I know that announcers are putting it over, but like, we didn't know he was gonna hit Flair. But for some reason, the bell rings. Like, he could have easily hit Sting, and like they immediately are just like, oh, Ric Flair wins by DQ because Arn hit him. But he guys, he literally slid in the ring as the bell's ringing. Mm-hmm. They jumped the gun so much on it. Like and all they had to do was wait 5 seconds before he hit Flair. But they didn't. For some reason, they didn't. They just rang the bell. But I mean, Arn, like I said, as a first person viewing, like first time, it's just like I don't know why they would do that. But I think that because I don't know if it was it's a booking issue, but I think maybe they jumped the gun with assuming because maybe they thought because for instance, if people were watching WCW Saturday Night for the past month, maybe they would have those viewers, if he slides in the ring, they're like, oh, he's gonna hit Flair, but we didn't know that.
Right.
So it's just a complete goof on their part, honestly, to just blow or ring the bell instantly.
Right. And also at this point, I was thinking to myself, in 95, did they have, because I know a lot of the old territories, some of them I want to say maybe Mid-South or maybe Florida. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
some of them would DQ immediately if somebody just ran into the ring. Like, boom, it was over.
Right.
So I was thinking to myself, maybe WCW at this point was doing that, but as we go to the next show that we're about to do, it's no,
it's just a screw up. It was such a screw up. Because I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, maybe that's a DQ. Should I Google it? And I was like, nah, I'll just see what happens. And sure enough, it was just a goof.
Yep, just a goof. But anyway, from there, he has the exchange with Flair. Some punches are exchanged. Flair takes off.
Yep.
And while that's going on the one side of the ring, the other side of the ring, Scott Norton shows up.
Right.
Gets in the face of McMichael at ringside by the commentary table.
Mm-hmm.
And then out comes, the Macho Man comes over.
I loved I love Macho. And basically, he gets in his face and he goes, "You want a reputation? How about Macho Man Randy Savage? Is that good enough for you?" You dig? And he looks him right in the eyes.
Yep. Dude, how good was he?
Oh my god, dude. He literally at all times he looked insane. But you loved like he was the best. But here's the thing about this segment that I was like, I don't know if a lot of people know who Scott Norton is. So I think it was like kind of cool in a sense where like when he jumped the railing, it was kind of like, oh, like especially because it was happening as this Arn thing's going on. Mm-hmm. Like it's once again, it's one of those Bischoff things where he's presenting things kind of realistically, like reality TV.
Yep.
So that's why I loved it because he jumped the thing. And I know like Bischoff said, get security out here like 18 times. Which it became a little bit of overkill, but at the same time, like he's still trying. He's very good at not losing sight of like we're reality TV. That's what I'm going for, type of thing.
Yes, and it's also cool that in hindsight, it's in a mall.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't some of these guys start showing up out of nowhere?
Exactly. Like he's a genius. Like he is a genius for that. He really is. Like that's the best way to present your show in a mall is have people run in like crazy and ask for security.
So the other good part, another great transition, kudos to Bischoff, as he's looking at Norton calling for security, saying, get out here. He goes, we have another new guy debuting soon. It's going to be Sabu. And it just goes right into a
Sabu vignette
for Sabu.
Before we get to the
floored because you have three angles involving 5 different.
It's just like boom, boom, boom. It's TV. It's like what people want to watch. But before we talk about Sabu quickly, right? I don't know if you saw this spot too. So like they're all right there. He's talking to Norton. Norton's in Mongo's face. Macho climbs up on the top rope, and it's like an aerial shot, and you can see Macho on the turnbuckle, and everyone's on the floor right in front of him. And he almost falls. Like his arms are moving, and you have to see him like catch himself, and he almost falls on top of all of them. Like literally like funny enough, like a Sabu dive. Like he almost accidentally does that, and he has to like catch himself, and he falls backwards a little bit, and it's great. But yeah, right into the Sabu thing.
Yep, right into the Sabu.
It's hype. It's like what 30 seconds of just highlights.
Yeah, just highlights of Sabu.
That's all it is. But they said he'll be here next week.
Yep,
which was the main thing.
Yeah. So from there,
here we go.
Is in the ring announcing the motorcycle winner, which I thought was interesting.
Yes.
And why did I think this was, dude? This is 95. Like, okay, that could have been done in a tweet today.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to realize, okay, wait a minute. This is like 95.
Like this is normal for back then. It's like, oh, like, because like we're watching it and we're like, oh, this is kind of weird, but it's not at all. It's like, it's totally on brand for 95.
Yeah, exactly. The motorcycle winner was announced by Mean Gene.
Yeah, cool. That's all it is.
So from there, and this will be interesting on the next show, but we have a little promo in the back from Mr. Wall Street, Michael Wall Street, who was IRS in WWF, who is Mike Rotunda. Just cuts a simple promo that he's now arrived in WCW.
Did you notice that he kept saying New Generation a lot?
Yes.
He was talking, which obviously was a direct thing at Vince,
yep.
Because he was calling Diesel and Shawn and all them and Razor all New Generation. But he kept saying about why go to the New Generation when he said something about like then keep the old generation or something. Right. Or when the old generation's still going or something. I don't know. It was a clear direct shot at Vince. And it was kind of like, it was just a little promo, but it didn't really do much for me personally. It was just kind of like whatever.
Just a little troll job.
Yeah, I think what made it worse was the direct shots. Like, because it wasn't needed. Like, why the slick new generation talk? Like, it's weird. Right. It was just weird.
Yeah, and getting to that, we're gonna come back to that in about a minute.
Yep.
The main event of the show begins. It is the WCW World Title holder Hulk Hogan versus Big Bubba Rogers, who was Big Boss Man in WWF.
Yep.
This was a typical Hogan Boss Man show match from '88.
That's exactly. I literally put crowd loses their minds at Hogan. Classic Hogan match. That's it. He just posed. He bumped. Heel heat on Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I did note there was a great spot in this that I literally laughed out loud. You know, like the Brett bump when he gets whipped into the corner and he hits his chest really hard and falls backwards?
Yes.
Big Bubba did that. But he hit like so hard because he's like 350 pounds, whatever. And he didn't bump backwards like on his back either. He just hit the post as hard as he could. It was just great. I just thought it was great. Like I had to note that. But yeah, I mean, classic. Oh, I also noted Mongo kept calling Heenan Bobby Hernia. This match, I think he said it 4 times. I don't know why.
I don't get it.
Were you surprised that Hogan is not as stale yet? People are losing their minds for him, dude. Like, I know it's 95. It's not quite like 96.
Mm-hmm.
But the crowd was losing their minds for him still. I was a little
but yeah, at this point, I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah,
just because it's it's late 95 more like because it's September. It's late 95.
Yeah.
Also, Jimmy Hart was there. I was a little surprised to see Hogan with Jimmy Hart because I know they came in together. I think when Hogan first signed.
Mm-hmm.
But does Hogan really need Jimmy Hart? You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, and that's interesting.
I was like, huh, all right. I was like, he needs a manager. I'm like, he's literally the biggest megastar up to that point in the business. I'm like, I don't think he needs a manager, but
yeah, good point. Very good point. Post-match, the Dungeon of Doom comes out and attacks Hogan. Macho Man comes out, and Sting comes out, and Lex Luger comes out.
Yep.
So the Dungeon of Doom, why they came out, this is setting up the it's Fall Brawl, right? Is that next?
Fall Brawl, yeah. War Games.
At Fall Brawl. So Hogan, Team Hogan versus Team Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom, Zodiac, aka Brutus the Barber Beefcake with
it's so silly.
It's so silly. Kamala as Kamala, like that was just normal Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Shark, aka Earthquake, but they named him Shark. And then what's his face? Giant, right? Or no, well, Giant, yeah, but he wasn't here, was he?
Well, Shark was Avalanche, wasn't he? At this point?
Right. He was Avalanche, and then they made him Shark.
Okay,
He used to be Earthquake in
WWF
in like the late 80s, early 90s.
And
but
what was the fourth?
Was Giant in the Giant wasn't in the ring, but I think he's the fourth in the match.
Okay.
But I know obviously the Taskmaster, aka Kevin Sullivan, he was in the ring. He's their leader.
Yes. Is he booking, by the way, at this point?
I don't think he's booking. I don't think he's
booking this.
I don't know, but I think Sullivan comes earlier 96.
Okay.
Because I know that he was kind of head of booking when Hall and Nash came in. But I don't know if he's head yet. I don't know who is. It could still be Flair, dude, because it's only mid 95. Right. But I don't know if it is or not. But it is silly. It's very silly. Because but at the same time, it's kind of like, what would they do with these guys if they weren't in like a silly Dungeon of Doom stable?
It's true. So it's true. Yeah, it's basically like, what would you do with them? Well, that's probably why they're together. Because
exactly.
They're like rejects. Like,
yeah.
Here's the good news. This promo spot is something that we don't see a lot in wrestling today.
Yeah, I agree.
The hook. It's all about the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So how you gonna hook the people to come on back next week? This was good because Lex Luger starts talking. Why are you here? What do you want? You know, obviously. And we mentioned a few minutes ago, they started taking shots at WWF. Like Lex said, I don't want to be playing. How did he put it? I don't want to be playing with the kids. I want to play with the big boys.
Yeah, he said, I've beaten who you've beaten. I've been where you've been. It was actually a great promo, and I'm not a big Lex fan. Like it actually made me want to watch next week.
I was never a big Lex fan either.
I loved at one point because Luger slides and he's talking to him, and you hear Macho. He's not really on the mic, but he goes, "I told you he had an ulterior motive," and it's just like it's so great. Like the fact that you have Sting, Mach, Luger and Hogan in the same ring. It was pretty cool to watch. And I'm not even a big Lex guy.
No, the ulterior motive is coming next week.
Yes.
We're going to break that whole section down, but yeah, yes. You're right. He did great. But, yeah, so this right here, Hogan just says, you know, we don't have to wait a week. We don't have to wait a month. We can do it next week. And that's where the hook is. So they're going to have the brand new guy that was on SummerSlam fight in the title picture next week.
Yep.
Versus Hogan. That's it.
And it was like I noted, like it was actually a surprisingly good promo from Lex, like I said.
Yeah.
Hogan, it's not hard to make like anything he does, people are like, oh my God. But I loved the chaoticness of just this too. Like I loved like for some reason it wasn't, I don't even want to call it organized chaos, but it was pretty like it was just the whole show was pretty chaotic. But they did the big angles that Bischoff needed to get through. I think they did really well for being live, first time, big TV prime time. I think they did really well for a lot of this stuff. Like the show, dude, I wrote down, like, just talk about building some heat. Because you got Luger Hogan next week, Macho Norton, Arn and Flair. Like, that alone is enough for me to watch next week. Mainly, yes. I mean, I don't really care about Norton at this point. But at the same time, maybe if I was watching back then, I'd be like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So I'd probably watch. But even just Arn and Flair and Luger and Hogan. Because Luger and Hogan hadn't happened to that point. Because even Luger, late 80s, early 90s, was in WCW when Hogan was in WWF.
Yeah, and then
they flipped pretty much. Yep. Yeah. So that never really happened. So that was like, it was because he was supposed to be Hogan 2.0. So it was great to see that.
Yeah, the other thing too is it was a good promo from Lex. And Hogan's always going to deliver.
Yeah.
But I believed them when they were talking to each other. I believed them.
It was nice to watch something and be invested in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, imagine too, back in the, like, if we were watching this per the live time, 95, we would have no knowing of what's coming next, and we would have no social media, we'd have nothing. We'd be like, dude, this is like Luger and Hogan next week for the title. Like, yes, please. Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I made a note at the bottom of the page here. WCW wasn't playing around.
Mm-hmm.
This encompasses like the next 3-4 years of what's going to happen on Nitro or in WCW. Because if you look at like from top to bottom, the cruiserweight match kicking off, the surprises with Lex and then Norton later, Sting and Flair, obviously the second match, Hogan, Big Bubba, like it's all there on this show. It's all there.
It's the cornerstones of, because it's crazy because like when you watch Monday Night War or whatever, Bischoff is talking about, wanting to book reality. Like, you think that he just means NWO, but he started from day one, booking a reality-based TV storyline show. And I was like, dude, that's because like I was literally surprised that there was this many run-ins. Like and the cruiserweight thing surprised me too because it's only 95. Jericho and Guerrero and Mysterio and Juventud and all those guys aren't there till like late 96, 97.
Yeah, they're ways away.
So they got like at least a year, and he's already there. Like, he's already booking cruiserweights, and it's like, wow, dude. I honestly was surprised that they did this well of a show. First day, like live TV, like anything. Yeah. But I thought they did great. Like, honestly, I thought the show, like, sure, the wrestling is what it is. Like, Sting, I'll take, like, Sting and Flair.
Was awesome.
Was awesome.
Yep.
And I think it was, like, 10 minutes or something, maybe not even. But, I mean, honestly, I'll say this about Hogan and Luger wrestling-wise, too. They did better than I thought they would, kind of. They were quick with each other. Or not Hogan and...
Hogan and Bubba.
Hogan and Bubba. Like, they did, like, because I was like, oh, Bubba's going to shit the bed. I literally said, I was like, but it served its purpose, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay. Like, I was invested. I wasn't like, all right, I'm going to go take a pee kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it did its fine. And Liger and Pillman alone was awesome and hadn't really been seen before. So I really think top to bottom, they did a good show, especially when you look at the fact that trying to build heat. I think that they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, like I said in the beginning, I didn't see this live in 95 as a youngster.
I wasn't alive.
You wasn't alive. You wasn't here.
I wasn't here.
But I have seen this later, and it's been a long time since I've seen this first Nitro, but it's better than I remember it.
because I've seen it too, but like years ago, like 5 years ago, and I agree with you. It's better than usual. Better for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because our taste, or not our taste, but we're conditioned differently now than we were 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It was a good show, and like I would argue it's like a really good show, just for the fact, dude, it was 46 minutes or 52 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
they did all of that. You had 3 major storylines.
That's true.
52 minutes. We don't even get that in 3 hours of TV. Like, that's crazy. So true. That is crazy, guys.
That's a great point. Yeah. And it was entertaining. Like, it had sprinkles of, just flat out entertainment.
Yeah, for real. It did.
So, yeah, man. I'm interested to see, too, while the war was happening, I was full bore WWF guy.
Yeah.
All the way. And then NWO came, and then I was like, all right, they're kind of cool, but I'm not going to say that too loud because I'm a WWF guy, right?
Right, yeah.
And then they turned Sting, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. and then, of course, there was like the cruiserweights. Oh, yeah, they're pretty good too. I mean, we should get some of those guys over here in WWF, right? So I'm interested to go through and see if I have the same reaction to it, or if I flip a little bit.
Knowing you, I think you'll flip, because I didn't watch any of that stuff live, because like I said, I wasn't alive. Like, I was born in 2000, so WCW was garbage by the time I was born, and I was obviously not even one. So like I wasn't watching wrestling. But going back and watching things, anytime I've seen a WCW show, I've tended to enjoy that more than WWE. Well, not like necessarily, like I don't want to say that, but like at least from 95 to 97 when the ratings were good.
Yeah.
I could see why the ratings were better. So I'm interested. This will be a fun podcast that we're doing here, because we're gonna really be able to go to take a trip down memory lane, and I think it'll change our opinions on a lot of things. Because mine's already getting changed. Like I hate Luger, and I was like, after seeing him here, I'm like, I'm excited to watch him wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like it's cool to see that. But I mean, I'm gonna prep it all falls apart. This first Nitro kind of falls apart next week.
A little bit.
Show.
Yeah. A little bit.
So hopefully that doesn't keep up, but we'll get to that on the next episode. But yeah.
Yeah. So as we go through, we're gonna, I guess, right, we'll do Nitro and Raw, and we'll do side by side comparisons,
segment by segment,
and then we'll decide which one we liked better, I guess, that week.
So this week, Nitro was the winner. Poor Raw.
Obviously going.
Hey, here's another thing too. I don't know.
Going alone. Solo.
Solo. I felt bad. Well, I don't feel bad, but like, what is Vince doing? He's giving free eyes on Nitro. I mean, it was probably the network, but like, I feel like he should push a little bit, at least for their first episode, to be like, hey, like, let's split the fan base. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know why? Because if you go on the network and you go over to the Raws, there was one, like, obviously before SummerSlam, but I think it was like August 11th.
Yeah, they skipped.
They skipped 2 weeks or what?
Yeah, because he was starting the fall season. Like, I think it was because like they were starting the new contract with USA or whatever.
Okay.
But still, bro, like just start it early or something. And don't be surprised. I'm honestly like we could just Google this. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in Europe or something, and they just didn't want to take. They didn't have the time to produce it, so they were
possible too,
like because you know how they were. But either way, I think Vince really dropped the ball on letting this, especially with how good it was. Like he really dropped the ball with just being like, okay, they're gonna be. They're not gonna have competition this week, but I definitely think there's probably new fans made. I'll say that.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I like we said, like, good show, really built heat. 3 major storylines started. Mongo's garbage. He needs to leave, dude. He is bad. I love Teenan on commentary. Yeah. Bischoff, like, he's fine. He does the job. If you notice though, like, I would prefer if Bischoff, like, I know why he was the announcer for a while, because he wanted to do things his way. But, like, Shivani would have been probably better, or whoever else, because if you notice, he gets kind of distracted. Like, there's a lot going on for him to handle, I think. Like think about if JR was just sit JR Shivani there, they can focus on the matches. Bischoff always seems like he's like, all right, bang, bang, like his, like, and for good reason. I'm not saying, like, he didn't do his job well. I'm saying, like, he had so much going on. It's weird to me that he but Vince did it for a while, but he just seems distracted at points. Like, he's not really focusing on the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, well, I know I've heard Eric talk about. I believe he made the choice to do commentary because he thought it was too Southern.
Right.
And he wanted to, compete with Vince. So he felt like he had to get that voice, that Southern feel and the Southern voice off. And I think now that could just be Eric being Eric, like he wanted the spot, whatever. But
I mean, I understand.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I mean, if you want to go Northern, I'm sure him and Heenan alone is like, just because Heenan's been on WWF TV for the past how long, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think he accomplished that well. Mongo just shouldn't be there, dude. Just do a 2-man booth at that point. Like if you want to have him be in storylines and stuff, that's fine. And if you want to have him wrestle, that's fine. I'm sure he's bad at that too. But dude, there's no if you notice in the matches too, he literally compares everything to football. And it's like, dude, he can't talk about anything else. He can't talk about anything else. And I kind of feel bad because I'm sure Bish gave him a ridiculous amount of money, so he felt like he had to use him somehow. But yeah, all in all, good show.
Yeah, I agree.
2.5, which
2.5,
pretty good, I think, for the start. I'm sure Bischoff was happy. I enjoyed watching it. It was a good 46 or 52 minutes, whatever it was, of wrestling. I thought I literally Sting and Flair, for having 10 minutes or 8 minutes, whatever they had, dude, they put on a clinic as far as how to, that should be a match where you're like, guys, we have 8 minutes on TV, watch this match, go do that. Right. They should show that to everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, good show all in all, I thought.
Yep. Pasta Mania ran wild.
Pasta Mania, brother. It's in his brain. He didn't say veins, he said brain. Dude, did you mess up or did you mean to say that? I'm like, dude, it was great though. Pasta Mania, come on, dude. What do you think they wrote in for that segment? On the board in the back, Pasta Mania, Hogan. Hogan, meet me at the kiosk.
Pasta Mania.
But yeah, you got anything else to say, broski?
No, I think that'll about do it. Good show. 2.5. We'll keep an eye on the ratings. Yeah, I thought it was very, very good for their first show.
Yep, I did too. So, all right. So this was the first episode of the Monday Night Marks podcast. This will be on Spotify, Apple Music, all your streaming services, on YouTube, Spreaker. It's where we're based out of, born and raised, Spreaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pal. Yeah. So next week, stick with us. Well, not next week. Well, this will be out. This won't be out next week, but we are gonna look at the
next show.
Head to head. We're gonna look at head to head Nitro versus Raw, and this is the first head to head of all time. So that'll be interesting to see. Keep in mind, Raw is taped, Nitro's live, so that'll be fun to get into. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter, all that stuff, and yeah, I'm your boy Max, aka Lil Q. That was Hollywood Edwards, the ledge himself.
Ledge. Goated. Ask White. I'm goated.
Hashtag Ask White. Get it trending. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Catch us on the next episode of Monday Night Marks, and we'll see you later.
Later.